Hello. I just got done watching Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts. So I just thought I'd, go over a few thoughts on it. Mainly, my response is, what the hell was the point of that? Which sounds incredibly negative, I know. It's just the general trend of streaming services now and the content they create is just, I can't bring myself to care about any of them. I think they're just all rushed and underdeveloped. I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess. Because I can't help but wonder, what would this series have been? Maybe this series could have been the next Avatar. The Last Airbender. I now have to unfortunately make that distinction. Thanks, Korra! Sorry. It could have been the next Avatar, but instead it's the same as every other Netflix show. It's just this stream of mediocre shows that you just watch all at once, are instantly forgettable. It's not even something that, every week you can it builds up, a place in your life. But that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't get a chance to happen. I was so into cartoons because I could make them a part of my life, every day. I know Thursdays are the days when you watch this show and then this show, and that doesn't happen anymore. Why would anyone make it hard to be a nerd? So the show itself is just a bit rushed. I mean, it's fine. Every episode has more or less an arc, good action. I still don't know about the apocalypse plus crazy 90s stuff. You got the tape decks and you got flamingos and disco floors, and I bet maybe it's not just 90s. I don't know, they have a kind of a genre of stuff, which seems to be pretty 90s. This 90s colors-ish at least. And then they just said, we can just, paste that onto a survivalist apocalypse. I know it didn't work. It feels like maybe an anime would have been able to do it better. It felt like an anime. I mean, most of it. It felt like it should have been or wanted to be an anime, but then it just kind of, I don't know. I guess the main thing is Kipo. I can't stand this character type anymore. I'm so done with it. We already have Steven. We don't need any more of these Pollyannas running around. No more. Why do we need so many of them? And her voice actor, I don't know, I'm not a fan. She says things that are just so, there's no drama in anything she says. She just kind of says it just kind of nonchalantly and matter-of-factly. And I guess they interpreted that as that'll be great for a character who's really positive and optimistic all the time. She just sounds like she's like a kindergarten teacher talking down to you. She sounds like she's got permanent, preschool voice. Like a teacher or something. I didn't buy her as Kipo. This voice actor, I can't get behind them. Kipo's design, I just wasn't buying. The pink hair, eventually I guess we're meant to guess that that's natural. Oh. And it's hard because animation so often gives characters just colored hair, colored irises, and it doesn't explain it, but then every once in a while, you're supposed to, apparently. This is very unstructured. Yeah, I didn't buy Kipo because they always pair them up with these really grouchy types. Wolf, right? And Wolf, as we have seen, is traumatized and is angry and bitter and because she thinks that she's going to be betrayed again. She has no sense of trust. And that's just heartbreaking. And then you have Kipo, who's just tra-la-la, do and just, prattling off at a million miles a second, just being hyper-optimistic right in front of her to her face. And this is actually quite realistic. If you are just upset, there's these certain Rapunzel's been doing this too. There's a fine line when you have these hyper-positive characters. You have to make sure that they can detect facial expressions, negative facial expressions in others. You have to make sure that they can tell when someone is sad. Because otherwise, they come off like a complete psychopath. You want them to be nice. Ideally, you want them to have, compassion and empathy. Part of that is being able to detect emotions in others. And so much of the time, Wolf is just being generally miserable, and Kipo just doesn't seem like she notices. She doesn't react to it. She's just like, oh, we should hug. We're sisters, and she's going off and off and off. It's like, no. And maybe that's one of those problems you have when you don't have voice actors in the same location responding to each other. And that's, fine. But it's especially important with these optimistic types that you make sure they're responding to the people around them. I've met people in real life like this. They're just in their own world. They just fly off and they just run off. You could be walking beside them and then they see something shiny and just run away, and then you look and they're fucking gone. Where did you go? It's like, I saw something. I had to go look at it. But yeah, these people exist. And that's not nice to just to just run off and not have any consideration for the people with you. I almost feel bad for giving Dory such a hard time because, I mean, she did the same thing. Why did I feel bad about giving Dory a hard time? Something about... Oh, I remember! Because Dory is actually... feels like they took the Pollyanna type and they played with it. That might have just been, what Ellen DeGeneres brought to the role. But Dory actually felt like a take on the type, on that Pollyanna optimistic sugar plum type of character. She felt like still her own thing. But Anna and Kipo and Steven, there's a lot more of Steven. You could probably get around with saying he's more complex, especially now. He's apparently turned into a raging angst bucket. But Dory's maybe a good example because she does actually have, jokes to kind of balance her out. She is funny. So there's a part of her that just the entertainment value, she can still do, dry delivery and she can make everybody laugh. Kipo's not like that. She, a few times she tries. I think this actress probably could do it. More often than not, they just have her. Even the characters around her are frustrated. They're like, God, you are nauseating. Yeah, she is. And if the side characters are thinking that, maybe the audience is too. I just wish there were more to these characters. It just feels like, oh, she doesn't have to develop, right? There's no arc if you have a character that's already just perfectly happy. The only logical thing you would do with a character in that position would be to reverse it. Oh, they're really happy? Well, make them miserable. Break them down. Break all those optimistic barriers down. Make them completely miserable. And then have them find themselves again. Or turn their naivete into a vulnerability, into an actual flaw that gets them in trouble and makes them think, oh, crap, I can't be like that anymore. No, that's the old me. I'm going to change now. But you really have to be aware of it. You really have to be consciously, deliberately making these characters naive and optimistic on purpose in a way like they did in Trolls. That's bad. That's going to get them in trouble. And then once they're in trouble, then you can have them turn around. Fine. I mean, Kipo is just like, she just goes through. It's so lazy. Just have one character type, wind them up, let them loose in one environment, in just this type of world. Here's the optimistic Pollyanna type in a post-apocalyptic Earth. It's hilarious. It works on paper. Yeah, just wind her up and let her go and just, every situation she comes into, she's got the right idea, right? She's always like, oh, let's just talk to them. And that's always the right idea. It's always gonna work. She never learned anything in any of those situations. She just was, her own truthful, honest, wonderful, optimistic self, and it just always worked. And Wolf was just made to look really dumb in comparison because, she's standing beside Kipo and all of Kipo's plans are working. Like, would it have killed them for just like once or twice to have Kipo's plan blatantly not work? So that, it's like, okay, next time, yeah, you were right in that instance. Maybe that did happen. It's all such a blur. This is the other problem with watching everything all at once. It's hard to review all in one go. I don't want to watch it again. I'm still so behind on all the other shit I have to watch. Now, watching things is now becoming a chore? Is that what the age of streaming services has done? Watching things is now a chore if you want to stay caught up on things? Ugh. Anyway, sorry, that's off topic. The animation is just, that passable. It's just okay. The expressions, there were a lot of, I think this is probably a low budget show because there were lots of instances where there should have been like more shots to actually show like little inserts here and there just showing actually what's going down, but they would do all one action in one shot, and that makes me think this is pretty low budget. I don't know. I mean, generally the production is fine. And overall, it doesn't leave really much of an impression. It's just another one of these shows that you're just gonna watch, and okay, let's just be positive. I liked where I thought Kipo was gonna like pull an Aang, and Wolf was gonna pull an Aang, where she was gonna hide a message from Kipo's parents from her. It was almost like, well, this is exactly what are you doing? But they don't draw it out a whole episode. Kipo does get mad, but then Wolf turns around and makes her case, and they hug it out. I loved that moment. That was great. And I know you can't have just, a whole season of just, those moments, but I really liked that. I thought that worked really well. But yeah, there were so few instances where they actually got to, set up anything like that. It was, how do we even take Wolf seriously? She's this survivalist type, but all the creatures and the monsters and the bad guys are all ridiculous. It really does make it seem like it's a world that was created specifically so that a person exactly like Kipo would wander through it and just ace every challenge she came across. In that case, that wasn't putting Kipo in a world that would challenge her. If anything, you put Kipo up against challenges she was perfectly equipped to face. That's not challenging her. Why? What's the point of that? Why would you do that? I know why, because it's easy. It writes itself. And there's something to be said for things that write themselves. But this got too repetitive. I didn't care for any of the extras. I didn't care about the axe cats, lumber cats, timber cats. There's just there's some ideas that should have been fun, but then it just got ridiculous. Like workout, raccoons. What were they? Badgers, raccoons, and then they had just skunks show up on scooters, and there's hummingbirds with bomber jackets. And and then there's a baboon with a piano on a flamingo, and it's just like, yeah, sure, whatever, fine. But none of this is threatening. And there's giant dogs. It's like, this is just all a big dream sequence. This doesn't feel like a survival tale. Maybe in the first couple episodes there were hints of that, but then they brought in all the crazy creatures. And it's like, oh, this is just someone's crazy fever dream. There's a certain part of a survival tale that has to be realistic enough to actually be, tense and engaging. But Wolf just looks like an idiot, like she's been fighting for her life against these ridiculous monsters, and they keep having to, oh no, these guys are scary. Oh, Scarlemagne, oh, he's scary. Yeah, he was scary before you told us he's a baboon on a piano. Now, not so much. And you probably should have left the flamingos out altogether. Oh, and then they just bring these things in and try to make them scary. Like, oh, it's a scary flamingo. It's gonna bite your head. No, I don't know. None of it worked. I think, again, the problem is just maybe more development. This needed something. I don't know. The music was nice. That was a really nice feature that they worked in. That did make it stand out. I could almost see what they were going for with the crazy creatures. I was like, oh, I got the crazy music, and there's a vibe. There's definitely a vibe they're going for. But I could see if this was an anime, they would have succeeded in, more of an atmospheric advantage. Because there was no atmosphere. There was no real sense of the world. Everything was really rushed. Every episode was very, A to B. That's like a general storytelling note with everything I've seen. Now, nothing just stops. Actually, there was, the last song where Kipo's in this weird dream sequence where her friends are dancing on a guitar. I forget even what's going on. There's just crazy psychedelic shit everywhere. And there's no dialogue in that. It's just her and her facial expressions. And I was like, I like this. Yeah, this is engaging. Good. Take out her voice. Maybe that is the problem. Maybe her voice really is that much of a problem, because then wasn't distracted by her preppy voice. It was just, her facial expressions, just what she was feeling. And I could, just from the drawings, like, yes, I believe this. Good. I don't even know what's going on, but I believe her emotions. And that's really all that matters. I liked that. I wish there were more moments like that, where it's just the character. There doesn't have to be dialogue. Just being in the moment, and even if it's just a quiet moment where you're just observing maybe, or a few just slow establishing shots, just ease into it. Everything nowadays is just so quick. We don't want to rest. We don't want to build atmosphere. We don't want to, no, it's just everything is too damn fast. And this series, I think, especially if you're going to emphasize the world and like, oh, look what this cool, apocalyptic world we've created. Have some scenes of them just walking through and, oh, it's quiet. It's kind of eerie, suspenseful. A few shots like that could have really benefited it. Other than that, I thought Wolf was an okay character. Mostly she just existed to be, the Marlin to Kipo's Dory, and those characters just never fare very well. She came around. I did like that she, learned to trust again. I just wish it was someone a little less patronizing than Kipo. Yeah. Those type of people are not going to look after your emotional needs. That's not why they're preppy and optimistic. Like, Kipo never actually... Did Kipo find out about Wolf's past? Maybe they're going to do that later. Yeah, we found out, but Kipo doesn't know. Kipo never asked. Oh, no, she did. Yeah, she did. She tried. But yeah, Wolf is basically a fine character. Benson was fine. He kind of struggled for relevance through most of it. Dave was fine. The wisecracking sidekick. He did his part. Other than that, I think overall the voice acting could have just been way better on every level. Overall, fine. Nice to see types of shows like this. It just would have been... It's just all the shows. Even the Disney shows. Why are we not developing shows anymore? Why does everything feel just like it's Infinity Train? It was rushed out, and it just feels like nothing is really... made to its full potential. It's just get it out. Just get it out and have it exist in the world. That's the best we can do. Just who cares? Just disappointing. Anyway, so sorry for the inexcusable absence. I'm going to try to be better. That's my thoughts on Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts. I still think it's got merit. A lot of just nitpicking here and there overall. I guess the storytelling was fine. Just character issues. But more or less, it's a fine show. It's worth a recommendation. How about that? Positivity. That's it.